Welcome to Let's Talk About, a series spotlighting leaders, authors, artists, marketers, creators, and entrepreneurs sharing tips, tricks on business, media, technology, and frankly, life itself. I'm your host, Cynthia Nelson, three-time entrepreneur, Forbes contributor, investor, advisor. Today, we're talking to Oyeta Kokoroko. I always want to make sure I'm saying that right. Kokoroko, CEO of Okoko Cosmetiques. Hello, Oyeta, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Cynthia. Thank you so much for having me today.
And sorry, I did not mean to butcher your last name. That was not my intention at all.
You actually got it right.
Oh, oh my gosh, amazing. We've known each other for a while, and I followed your story for a while, and I think it's really fantastic and super amazing. And I want the audience to understand, what's your background and what's really the story of Okoko Cosmetiques? How did this come about?
Thank you for asking, Cynthia. So, to start, I would like to mention that I am from Togo, which is a small country in West Africa, and I moved to Canada when I was 5 years old to be reunited with my family. So, coming to North America as an immigrant, I always had it in me, the desire in the future to make the best of the opportunity to be here because we had so many opportunities if we truly want to. So I always had that desire to make an impact growing up. And I remember that always wanted to be an entrepreneur because I saw it as an opportunity to make a mark, but also to build something impactful. A few years ago, I had a lot of acne problems, and that's how my journey started. As a consumer, I was trying a lot of different products. I became interested in ingredients because I wanted to find what truly works for my skin. And as a consumer using all kind of ingredients, I became interested in how they were made, how they were formulated. So I
Right.
started researching my beauty products, reading labels, trying to decode the labels. And I realized that there was a lot of questionable ingredients used in skincare, but also controversial ingredients and a lot of filler ingredients
Yeah.
used. Filler ingredients are typically water, petrol-derived ingredients, which are very cheap. What it does is that it doesn't do much for the skin. However, it allows to have a very low cost. So realizing that there was on one side ingredients that were controversial and also ingredients that were not the most nourishing or beneficial for the skin, that's when I had a little bit that like a wake-up call, and I became interested in natural, clean skincare products. So I started using those products and became interested in how they were made. And my research as a very curious consumer led me one day to decide that I wanted to learn how they were made. So I started making skincare in my kitchen back in Montreal in my spare time, just formulating, experimenting with different ingredients, because again, I was looking for the ultimate skincare solutions that were clean, natural, and also that would provide amazing results using
Yeah.
ingredients that were potent with a lot of benefits. And as I started doing that, I eventually realized that I had a passion for skincare formulation. So I eventually enrolled into cosmetic science, product development to learn how to professionally create beauty products. And I saw a niche in the market, which was for high performance, results-driven products, because as you know, there's a lot of beauty products, but I realized that not all of them had that focus on combining the clean ingredients, the clean ethos with the efficacy in terms of having a high ratio of amazing ingredients. And that's where I imagine Okoko, which is derived from my first and last name. And in our culture, Kokoroko means strong, strength, powerful. So I thought it would reflect very well my vision for the brand, a brand that's impactful, that has products that are powerful in terms of the results, and also a brand that would inspire people, because I also wanted, as a Black woman in the beauty industry, to be able to contribute, bring more representation, and also inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs that all of us can build something great, no matter your background.
That was about the best overview I think I've ever heard you say, for sure. And there's a lot to unpack there. I'm going to go first on the product side of it because, full disclosure, I have used the products before, and I was just, as we were going to do this interview, I was thinking, oh, I need to order something. Um, there is a real difference with the feel, not just the look of the product itself, the packaging, right, which is one piece, and the reason for the black packaging or the dark packaging, but there's also this, there's a luxury feeling, and the smells are very intense in a good way. But there's a luxury side. You decided, not to go down the cheap and easy road, which is fillers and palm oil and water and alcohol and all this with, you can have plant-based, but then you add all this other crap to it. You decided to go down, I'm going to be organic as possible, adding additional emollients, ingredients, active novel ingredients that are proven to be effective to boost the product. So that's a really different, take than most entrepreneurs would go down, because I think it's a more difficult one, right? But then I would imagine the flip side of it is you get a consumer that is actually super happy with what you're doing and doesn't just take this and throw it away, right? It's actually, because it's working, you're going to continue buying it. So tell me, like, when you originally started developing the line of products, like what you started with and kind of where you're at now, how that space for you grew.
That's a great question. So initially we started with a few products, including purifying mask, like charcoal mask, brightening serums, and a face oil. Those my first products. And then I realized that it was hard to stand out in the industry. That was one of my main challenge in the beginning. I had no customer, no one knew Okoko. So you need to build the credibility, you need to attract your customers, you need to, earn their trust. So you also need to stand out. And wanting to stand out actually made me learn to innovate. I realized that through innovation, you can set yourself apart. And that's what made me start to research a lot more to come up with creations that were more distinctive, rarer, but also that offer an ultimate experience in every way, visually with beautiful, bright color. I have one of our
I love,
bestseller here.
love that
It's
one.
our Sublime Balm. It's orange. And that was one of my first innovation. It's a beauty balm that you can apply on your face, your hands, everywhere for dryness. It also provides a lot of antioxidants. So when you go outside at the beach, it provides a gentle protection in combination with your sunscreen. So when we launched this product, that's really when we started to stand out a lot more. And also it's very Instagrammable. So people were like, what's that beautiful orange balm? And they started noticing Okoko. And I realized that this kind of innovation, coming up with products that are colorful, vibrant, with amazing texture, amazing ingredients, but most of all that are really effective, where when our customer use it, within the first few use are able to feel a difference when they touch their skin. It's soft, it's smooth. As you mentioned, the scent makes you feel amazing. It's slightly sophisticated. So it's really more that elegant skincare, and it worked for us. Our customer loved it because through my research, I also realized that a lot of customers were a little bit bored with the same product that looked the same, always the clear serums, the white cream, and they wanted to try something a little different. And in this market research, that has led me to decide to innovate and make innovation, research and development, and ingredient expertise one of our focus at Okoko. And that's how we stand out. We cater to discerning consumers who like high quality products, skincare, foods, clothes, they like high quality products. They're ready to invest, but they also like to indulge in a fabulous experience. And we cater to busy professionals who like to take care of themselves using the best and also like to feel good. And that's exactly what Okoko provides to them, the ultimate beauty experience that hits all the high notes.
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, again, it's very different than what others would have done, because I think it's also much more difficult. It's a much more difficult road. And you didn't really raise any capital. I mean, kind of like family, you kind of did this all on your own. You haven't really raised capital. You've just kind of kept going one foot in front of the other. And it's been how many years now since you
It's been over 7 years, so we're soon entering the 8th one. Yeah.
entering the eighth year? Congratulations, because many people would have walked away by now. For sure, because it is, talk about a competitive marketplace, and you're all direct consumer at this point. Yeah, you do have some retail outlets.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of retail outlets. We're mostly direct to consumer, and our goal is to expand globally in the next year.
But you've been reviewed by a ton of magazines, Goop, like you've been reviewed by everybody as well. And you're based in Canada in Vancouver, correct?
Yeah.
Vancouver. So you're West Coast based, but you've been and tons of people have found out about you through Goop and all these other US based kind of, companies and magazines. How has that impacted your business? Are you seeing a big kind of increase in the US market?
Yeah, it has positively impacted our business. When it started, we started gaining new customers from the US who said they discovered us through Goop and other publications. We were also in the New York Times. They reviewed one of our face walls as one of the best. So that brought us new customers who follow or read those publications, who discovered us there. And then they came and they placed an order. And because sometimes I like to ask customers, how did you find us? Or sometimes they will just mention it. And we realized really around that time that there was a peak in sales and also a new customers, that started to sign up to our newsletter. So that was positive for us. Yeah.
It's really great. What do you see the future of innovation in skincare being? Like what's coming now? You're using like, AI is such a big word. I mean, it's more the technical side of it, but what are you guys doing in the innovation? Like what are new chemicals? What are new products? What's happening?
So as you know, it's ever evolving industry. I think the future of innovation should combine innovation and sustainability because nowadays it's incredibly important for every brand to contribute in having a more sustainable world, reduce our carbon footprints, our waste production. So I think the next innovation, whether it's ingredients, formulation, product, should focus on, if we're talking about ingredients, for example, ingredients that combine the innovation, the efficacy, and the sustainability. I think more and more brands are going to stop using ingredients that are not sustainable, that are over harvested, that are hurting the environment, and focus on ingredients that we can actually sustain over time. Bamboo is a great example of an ingredient that offers amazing properties, but it's also sustainable. It grows very fast, it's easy to plant, and that's why we use it a lot in our serum. So I would like to see more brands being careful when they select their ingredients to go for ingredients that are actually sustainable and make this one of the criteria during the product development. I also think that, another great innovation is upcycling. I don't know if you've heard about it. So upcycling is reusing ingredients instead of wasting it. And sometimes it's reused in cosmetic products. A great example is tomato juice. Sometimes the grain would be grinded to transform them into a powder that can be used as an exfoliant in skincare formulation. So we use upcycled ingredients, and there's a lot of suppliers who are now starting to offer upcycled ingredients. And I believe that's also the future of innovation, focusing on sustainability in the R&D process. Yeah.
It's super interesting on the sustainability. I mean, the US, sorry, the UK and Europe, they ban a lot of products that we allow into our system, being our system that of products we put on our face, our skin, our hair, as well as products that we eat. They ban a lot of things. I mean, your product seems like a natural fit for Europe in so many ways because you're in the sustainability and the innovation side and the upcycling side and the natural ingredients with efficacy. And you're adhering to all of those banned ingredients, whereas in the US side, we're kind of still letting everything free willy here and, hence all the other health related problems that we have, let alone in cosmetics. But switching topics for just a second, you've really built an entrepreneur, a real entrepreneur, and an immigrant story, entrepreneur story. I know that you are now actually not only paying it forward, you are lifting other entrepreneurs who want to understand how to build a business and build a brand and grow. Tell us a little bit about that because I think that's just fascinating, especially at this phase in your journey. Usually it's way later. You sold the company and now you're giving all this advice, but you're doing it midstream, 7 years, 7 years in.
Yes, the reason is because when I started, within the first, 2, 3 years, I had founders reaching out for help and support, for advice. They love to see how I was growing the brand, us winning awards, getting published. growing as well. And they would ask me questions, all kind of questions, how to innovate my products, because I always promote innovation, high performance skincare. So they would seek support and ideas for innovating their products, how to improve their branding, how to acquire customers, because they were brand new, they just started day one, and there's so much to learn. And they look up to me, they look up to my story as an immigrant, as someone who's striving to pave the way, but also who promote the fact that all of us can succeed, all of us can be empowered, because empowerment is very important for me. It's a personal mission. So I think they resonated with my values overall, and they came to me to seek support. They had questions, and I would just naturally provide insights. And by doing that over time, I realized that there was an opportunity to provide consulting and mentorship to early stage beauty founders who are just starting, and they're wondering, okay, now I got my products, where do I go next? That's where they are. They have their first products, but now they don't know how to stand out, how to brand themselves, how to do their marketing, how to build a community, how to acquire customers. So there's so much to learn. And I know what I understand, their journey forward. And I guess they see me as being a few steps ahead, and they need that advice on where should I go. And I help them by avoiding mistakes, providing them clarity on how to build their brand so they can reach their goals faster, but also work with someone who has experience, who know what it takes, and who can guide you, and that helps them with their brand and business. So I realized that was such a great way for me to contribute, and also by helping those brands grow, we're also contributing to helping the natural, green, clean beauty industry to also thrive a lot more and attract more consumers. So I think this is such a great empowerment journey, and now that's what the Okoko brand does. We create award-winning, fantastic high-performance skincare products, but we also provide consulting, and guidance to early-stage founders who want to grow and build impactful brands like us. And I think that's a beautiful mission.
I think that's an amazing mission, and also one that angel investors should be super interested in, because funding is the other side of it, right? Creating amazing products and going out and getting customers, and it's the chicken and the egg. Do you have the marketing chops? Do you have the brand? Do you have the product, right, to go out? And then do you have the money to go out and actually do all the things that you actually need to do, right? Because when you're creating products, you're paying in advance for the creation of the product, 50%. You land the product, the other 50% you pay, and then you sell the products. And if you're, there's a cash flow issue always with the smaller brands that are growing. But this actually seems like, you're taking your knowledge and experience and making sure that they don't make the same mistakes that you made, and they have the advantage of going through your program. But I applaud you for that, because it's not usually the time when someone like you, like, when do you have the time to do this is what I want to know. When do you have the time when you're running a full-time business? But I applaud you for doing that. I think it's really needed, and there aren't a lot of places for those types of companies to go. And they can get bad advice very, very, very easily, and end up spending their money and their savings and not having anything to show for it, and then stopping their journey and killing their dream. So thank you for that. In kind of in closing, if I was a person who had an idea for a clean beauty brand, like, what would be, a piece of advice, something that you learned that, like, everybody needs to know?
If you have an idea for a clean beauty brand, I would first, highly encourage you to do market research, to have a very clear understanding of the market, where it's at right now. What are the brands out there that are popular? What type of product is working? But also, what is the consumer looking for? You need to find a niche that has enough demand and that can be profitable. So spend some time really researching to make sure that you're creating a product that is actually going to be in demand before starting doing the R&D, and also that you have a very strong differentiating factor. Differentiation is so important. There's a ton of products, but the one common challenge for all brands is to stand out, is to differentiate yourself. It's to be memorable in the mind of consumer. That's why you should take the time to refine your product, to make sure that it has a a compelling story. It has a compelling differentiation factor, because that's going to help you down the line when you launch, when you start marketing it. You want people to notice it and to remember your brand. So taking the time to innovate your products and make sure there's actual demand for it, and then work on your branding. It's very important to have a professional brand image. A lot of people don't think it's that important, but it is. When the consumer don't know your brand yet, often it's going to be the look of the product, the packaging, the brand design. So all of it, your brand colors, it reflect your personality. So I would highly encourage you to invest in working with a professional, graphic designer or branding specialist that's going to help you create a very compelling and strong brand identity that's going to resonate, that's going to stand out, and that's going to be memorable. And after that, I will highly encourage you to learn how to market yourself and your brand. When I started, marketing was not something I knew. I learned it eventually when I realized the importance of knowing how to market and sell your products. But if you don't have that knowledge, go and learn it. There's a lot of ways, a lot of resources out there and courses. You don't need to become a marketing agency, but you need to know how this works. How can I market my product on social media, paid ads, different ways, live selling, video selling. So you need to have a plan on how you're going to market and drive revenue, because it's going to be essential to actually build a business. And I think those would be my first advice, strong product, memorable branding, and make sure you have a marketing plan. Yeah.
3 tips in one. I mean, you gave us a ton of data there. Okay, Oyeta, it's your products are amazing. I have used them and in the past, and I really need to know that I need to do a refresher. I think that what you've done is incredible. You've remained positive in a very difficult market and a very, very highly competitive market that is beauty. And you've stuck to your guns. Your North Star has not changed since I originally talked to you, 4 years ago, probably. Your North Star is still the same, and I think even is burning brighter than ever for you. So thank you so much for imparting your wisdom and sharing your story with the audience. I know there's going to be lots of questions, and you'll get some emails, and when it gets posted, I know you'll get a lot of play from it. But thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Cynthia. It was a pleasure.